I'm on, and welcome back to Don't Take the Box. Today I have a one-off box for you. Well, actually not a box, but a bag. And it's by Artsnacks. It was a promotion that they run a few months ago called Build Your Own Box, which means that you can select 5 items for a set price, regardless of what the actual cost of the item is. And I bought 2 of those boxes. But instead of boxes, we just got it in a bag. So let's see. As I suspected, everything came mixed up, so I don't know which 2 sets I made out of this, but that doesn't really matter anyway. First of all, we notice some Aquafine watercolors. Now I think I've had these before because they have run this promotion before. Maybe Common Cat will let you know about the video that I made last year with the same intent. And I got these, but in, I think, yellow and brown last year. Anyway, now we have them in ultramarine, blue, light and dark. That's exciting. Then we have a Sennelier ink brush in Payne's Grey, one of my favorite grey colors. This may seem a little weird because I selected these items myself, but it was a long time ago, so I'm not 100% sure what I exactly ordered. Then we have a Winsor & Newton fine liner in 0.5. These are hard to find where I live, so I'm always happy when I can get one in a box or in a deal like this. And then, before we start actually unwrapping, I have a Sennelier Aquarelle in neutral tint. The tubes did get some dents in the shipping, apparently. And a Sennelier in titanium white. And a Daniel Smith in Hansa Yellow Light. Pretty cute. And then some stickers. Weirdly, we get 3 stickers and no candy, because usually you get in a box, in an Artsnacks box, you get a sticker and a candy. Now we get 3 stickers and no candy, which is pretty sad because I was looking forward to some candy. But, well, we got stickers, which is not as good, but almost as good. Now, let's get to unwrapping. I will try to do this slowly, so you get a lot of ASMR. Another Sennelier item, abstract acrylic ink in Venetian pink. Ooh. What a lovely muted pink color. And the last of the wet items, we have an abstract acrylic ink bottle in Chinese blue. Pretty nice. And then very lastly, I already know what this is going to be. Namely some brushes. We get a Winsor & Newton Galleria round brush in size 3, pretty small. And a Princeton, it's a King Art oval wash. I really like oval and filbert brushes because they're so versatile. And it's a very pretty and soft one too. But I thought it was a Princeton one because they have a series with this color scheme. Anyway, doesn't matter, because now we can get swatchy. First of all, we're going to try out this ink brush. And like most ink brushes, first you have to remove a sealer ring before you can pierce the top of the ink reservoir. Ooh, that's very quick. Like, I've had a lot of ink brushes because I really like these. But I don't think I've had one that was so quick. Oof. I meant to say I never had one for which the ink flew so quickly through the brush and the bristles. One thing that I really appreciate is that in fact they are individual bristles, because I always find that you get a finer line with them and a lot more control. And also they don't wear out as fast. But look at this color, I mean, isn't that just amazing? And as you can see, it's also really juicy. It takes almost no pressure to get a very, very fluent line. And I think the tricky thing is going to be to get a very, very fine line. But then, since I'm rather clumsy, that is always a little tricky for me. I love it. Okay, next let's try out this Winsor & Newton fine liner. This seems to be not exactly black, but more of a sort of dark grey. And now I'm wondering whether I ordered a grey one or whether this is just something that I did not pay attention to. Because I have some Winsor & Newton fine liners and I really like them, especially to work in combination with watercolors, because they don't bleed and they're a little more subtle than other fine liners that I have. I mean, there's very few fine liners that I don't like, but every now and then you come across one that works particularly well with another medium, and then I have to have it, like this one. Really nice. Next, let's check out these little tubes that we got here. I've got a brush as well and some water. Oops. So, first of all, the Sennelier neutral tint. Which also seems to be kind of subtle dark gray. I really like it. I must have had, I don't know, a monochromatic vision when I ordered this box, because there's a lot of gray in this. But for now, I do kind of like it. You see, even when it's completely watered down, it still gives a very nice, even, soft gray. Right now, not really my favorite color, but I think this is going to be very nice for line work. Next, let's try the white. It's titanium, so it should show up on this paper, which I purposely bought in ivory and not white, because I think ivory as a background color gives you a better view of what colors will actually look like in a painting. This paint is quite soft, I must say, and not as opaque as I would have expected from a titanium white, but I'm not sad about that because I don't use a lot of highlights in watercolors, and a semi-opaque or even a transparent white is actually better to mix with other colors if you want a softer touch, so no complaints. I am a bit sad about the dents in the tubes though. I quite like my paint tubes to be very neat. Next, the first dash of actual color. Oops. And again, you can see that the tube got a little bit dented because there's quite a lot of paint oozing out already. But look at that. What a lovely, lovely, super, super bright yellow. And it is so smooth to lay down, and you can water it down quite a bit without losing the vibrancy of it. I've had Daniel Smith paints before, but I barely dare use them because, one, they're quite expensive and I can't find them easily where I live. But the colors are so, so, so nice that I think maybe I should just bite the bullet and get to it someday soon. Now on to more colors. We have two blues here. From a brand that I know and love, namely Taylor Rowney Aquafine. A very, very nice bright blue, which I'm going to assume is the ultramarine light. And next, a barely noticeable, but just a tad darker which is obviously the ultramarine blue dark. And then lastly, some ink. Always shake your ink bottles well, especially if they have been in transport and after that have been sitting down for a while. This is the Chinese blue, which, as you can see, has a smidge of green, but without it becoming more of a teal or turquoise color. And then for a final dash of color, the Venetian pink. Which is, for those people who would prefer that, more of a sort of soft, very light terracotta color. Now I'm going to see if I can dilute these a little bit and to see what the effect will be. As you can see, the answer to can you dilute them is yes. Bear in mind though that acrylic ink does dry quite quickly. So if you want to dilute them, either do this before you start working with them separately in a palette, or almost immediately after you have put the ink down on the paper, because chances are that once it has dried a little bit, you won't get the results that you would like, if you get any results at all. But as you can see, watering them down gives a very fluid color that is just a little lighter but loses nothing of its vibrancy. So very, very good colors. Now, while I try to come up with something that will fit this muted palette, I'm going to just zone out for a bit, of which you will notice nothing, because through the magic of editing, I'm back already. Some final thoughts. First of all, I'm really happy with everything that we got. The only thing that I'm not so happy about is actually my own fault, and that is the color scheme that I selected, since we got a lot of grey and neutrals and not the bright, very vibrant tints that I usually prefer. But other than that, no qualms. Secondly, I did not get to use everything that we got into the drawing, but I did find that everything that I did use worked together quite well. Again, the only thing that I'm not so happy about is actually my own fault, and that was applying the ink directly onto the wet paint. But once the paint was dry, applying a next layer of both watercolor and ink worked really, really well. So I can only once again recommend this type of box. It's called Build Your Own Box by Artsnacks. The action that they did when I ordered this has of course ended, because this box took about a month to arrive. But I do this almost, I think, yearly, because I did buy one last year. See, comment cat. And I was as happy then as I am now. So I'll link to their website below if they have the action or the event running. I definitely recommend checking it out. It's very, very good value for money. And yeah, I think if you put some time and effort into selecting the items instead of just randomly selecting things as I seem to have done, I think you won't be disappointed. But anyway, not sponsored, just excited. And that's all I have to say about it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you next week. Bye!